Hey everyone, I'm Tashina from Logical Harmony. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, we're going to be talking all about the new Clean Fresh line from COVERGIRL. Now, COVERGIRL is cruelty-free, and they have a handful of vegan products. And when they launched this line, which has foundations, lip oils, cream blush, and cream highlight, all of them were vegan, which is super cool, especially to see such a well-known drugstore brand like COVERGIRL come out with products that say vegan on the packaging. Like, that was very, very exciting to see. They did send me these, and I'm really excited to try them out and share my thoughts with you guys. So I did my full face with them, and I'm going to be doing a wear test as well. I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so I'm gonna prime my face first. I'm just gonna use my e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer because this is like my go-to. Everything that I use will be listed down below. A lot of those will be affiliate links, and what that means is I do get a percentage of the sales, and that helps to keep Logical Harmony running. So I really, really appreciate those of you that use them. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who is also a patron on Patreon. That also helps to keep Logical Harmony running. I appreciate all of you so much. Even those of you who don't use the links, aren't a patron, whatever, I appreciate that you're here and that you're watching, and it means a lot to me regardless. There are 14 shades in total, and COVERGIRL sent me one, 2, 3. Okay, so they sent 14, but when I was looking, 2 of them are the same shade. So they only actually sent me 13 shades. I think that was just a small oversight on their part. I wanted to show you guys, I don't have the lightest shade because I got sent the second to the lightest twice. So this is the lightest shade that I have. So there is one shade lighter than this, and this is the darkest shade. Now let's go ahead and pull, like, this one is the 4th darkest shade. So I think right off the bat, I feel like there could be more shades in between. I hope that they do expand because 14, it's a good start, but I feel like there are a lot more shades on the lighter end of the spectrum than on the darker end of the spectrum. And I don't know what the undertones on the darker shades are like. So I'm gonna just swatch a couple of these on my skin to try and shade match myself, because I'm not quite sure. Right now I am pretty fair. So I have the shades 520 fair, 530 fair light, 540 light. It's quite runny, so I'm trying to turn this so you can see. 550 light medium and 560 medium. So I think I'm probably gonna go with the shade 530 fair light and see how that looks. I will say, as I put it on my hand, I could see some of the shades kind of shifting as it came out of the tube. So I'm not sure if this is gonna oxidize or not. And honestly, I have avoided watching any reviews of this in depth just because I wanted to have, you know, some fresh feelings about this. I'm seeing very, very mixed reviews overall. So that's what I've seen on Instagram, is some people are like, it's so good, I love it, and other people are like, this is not great. So I'm really, really curious about this and to see what it's like. So it does say it blurs imperfections, it evens out your skin tone, sheer buildable coverage. So it's right there on the package that it's sheer coverage. So that's kind of what you should expect. And because of that, I'm actually going to spot conceal a couple of spots first and just kind of let the shade warm up on my hand and see if it changes at all. So whenever something is sheer coverage, I like to just go in and do a little bit of spot concealing on like my problem areas first, because I want to make sure that those are all taken care of. And I find it easier to do it ahead of time, and you just need like less product than instead if you try and do it after. Because I feel like often what happens then is I end up trying to cover it with foundation, and I put on way more foundation than I actually need. Does this affect the coverage? Yes, obviously. That's what I need to do. And it doesn't say if it's best applied with a sponge or fingers or a brush. So I'm gonna just put it onto my skin directly and then buff it out with a brush. And then I will see how that looks. And if I need to go over it with a sponge after, then I will. But I'm just really curious. It does definitely feel very lightweight, which is one of the claims. It's a little cold. It's quite cold in this room. It's feeling a little cold there. Okay, so let me go in with this brush and buff this out. And again, I think the thing with this too is you're going into it, or at least I'm going into it knowing it is a sheer coverage. They advertise it as a sheer light coverage. So I would consider that, you know, that's like what I would expect from a tinted moisturizer, where it's gonna balance everything out. Because of that, I do actually expect a lot more in performance as far as, you know, being kind of a moisturizer and how it feels on my skin. I think that lightweight foundations definitely have their time and their place, and they need to perform and do what they say they're going to do. It smells kind of weird. Not bad weird. It's like coconut water-y, but it also kind of smells like corn chips. So I'm gonna put a little bit more on and see if it does build up coverage. It does leave a nice glow on the skin, which I am into, but it is also definitely sheer coverage, which again, that's what's on the packaging. That's what I was expecting. I think it looks nice on the skin. Let me look at it a little more close up and see how it looks. I wish more drugstore products, because I wanted to make a point to use drugstore products in today's video since this is drugstore. I wish they had better mirrors in them. Okay. So looking at it close up, it does look super duper natural. I don't think it's blurring anything though, to be honest. Like, I actually think it is like counteracting this primer. I feel like it is accentuating my pores, and I feel like it's accentuating my dry patches. And it is, again, it's light coverage, it's sheer coverage. So it's definitely kind of just like evening out my skin tone. I don't think it's buildable where it said it was buildable, but let's keep going and see how it looks. I'm not gonna, actually, let me try with the Beauty Blender and see, because that normally just shears out coverage, but I want to see if it helps on like my dry spots. No, that made it worse. So I'm gonna put a little more on, build this up a little bit more, because it definitely just took away product where I did that, which Beauty Blenders do. But I was thinking, okay, maybe it'll take away a little product, but maybe it will look a little smoother or a little more even, and it did not. It made it look worse. And I'm just gonna apply a little more over here too. Again, I feel like if a foundation claims to be buildable, even if it says sheer coverage, it needs to be buildable. A little bit more. It's definitely smelling more coconutty. So I think if you are sensitive to scent, if you're sensitive to fragrance, if you hate coconut, you might not like this scent. I don't think it's terrible, but it is a little strange because it's more stronger scented, I feel like, than a lot of foundations. I feel like drugstore foundations tend to be more strongly scented anyway, and I'm not really sure why that is. I think it's a little strange. So I'm gonna conceal just there and a little bit on my nose, because I do need a little more coverage, and I also wanna do a little highlighting with this concealer too. I will say the foundation is so far not that great, which I feel bad saying. I was so excited. I think that when brands like this, like, okay, seeing a vegan line from CoverGirl is super amazing and super exciting, and like, it's about time. But I also think that it is lending to this belief that people who want vegan products want very natural finished products, that they don't want the same full coverage as everything else in the line offers. And so that is a little bit of a frustration point of mine. Like, I would have loved it if they had taken one of their like really popular foundations and made like a vegan version of it instead of coming out with this sheer foundation. I think that would have been great. I'm gonna save a lot of my thoughts for the end though. So I have the foundation on. Let's go ahead and go in with some blush, which they sent 4 shades of it. Also too, the foundation retails for $10 to $14. You can't buy it from the CoverGirl website, but it has a list of places you can buy it, and then there are different price ranges, and that was the price range. So I thought that was quite a big range for the foundation. This blush, it comes in 4 shades and it retails for $11 to $12 depending on where you buy it. Let's kind of see what this looks like. And this was the product that I had heard the most mixed things about. And I think cream blush can be super tricky as it is. So there's 4 shades in total. This one is Flushed and this one is Sweet Innocence. The others are a little bit darker, so I'm gonna not try those. I think one of these will be the one for me. Wow, this is very pigmented. Okay, very, very pigmented. I think I'm gonna go in with Flushed and see how that looks. So I'm gonna take a brush, and my favorite thing with cream blush like this, so a lot of them come in sticks, and that's what I'm really used to. With a product like this, I would put it on my hand first, and then what I'm doing is I'm blotting off excess product onto a hand towel that I have here, because cream blush can be either very natural, or I find it can be like pretty aggressive and very tough to work with. So I feel like it goes like one way or another. Like, there's no in between with it. This seems to be a little more on the aggressive side. I think that the shades they picked for this are a little strange, but that's okay. we're gonna roll with it. And I'm gonna do some buffing with that foundation brush. Sorry if you can hear that. Our neighbors are outside with their dog right now. Fun perk of apartment living. Saving a lot of my thoughts for the end. In the monitor, it looks much more soft than it does in person. In person, it just looks weird. I'm just gonna say it just looks weird. Okay, so next I'm going to use a highlighter stick from them. So there are 4 shades of this. This retails for around 11 bucks. They have a transparent shade, which I think is really great. Just for when you want that like natural dewy glow. So let me swatch that. Also, that blush totally stained my hand. So that's the transparent one. They also have Opal Dreams, which is more of a pinky tone. This one is So Gilly, which is like a gold tone. And then the other one, Pink Thrill, is pretty deep. So I'm not gonna swatch that one. So I think I'm gonna go in with this gold tone. Okay, I'm really actually struggling with the shades that they picked of things. I don't really think the shades make sense. I don't think they're like the most wearable-ish that people would pick. So I'm gonna take another brush and just put that on the stick. But let's see what it looks like on the skin before I rush into any judgments. I think it's 2 for me. I think drugstore vegan products, you have brands like e.l.f. that are fully vegan and doing amazing things. You have brands like Milani with tons of vegan options and they perform so well. Pixie vegan options that perform really well. So I think when it comes to drugstore beauty, there's actually there are brands, like there are fewer brands that offer vegan options, I feel like, but a lot of them are doing it so well. Like, look at Pacifica's range, you know, like I feel like there's more competition when it comes to vegan drugstore to perform better, because a lot of the vegan products, if you go to like Sephora or even like the higher end side of Ulta, a lot of those vegan products they perform really, really well, but for the price point you expect them to. And I think that when it comes to drugstore, there are so many brands like e.l.f., Milani, Pacifica, and they're doing their vegan products in a way that like truly competes with those like high-end brands. I think that because of that, there's more of like, I don't know, like I'm more critical of vegan drugstore products because I feel like e.l.f.'s doing amazing things. Pacifica's doing amazing things. Milani has some amazing vegan products. So like there's really no excuse to not come out with them at that price point. That's kind of how I feel. Okay, that's actually quite pretty. That went on very smooth with that brush. It actually looks really nice. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think that I like the highlight more than the foundation or the blush so far. So I'm going to try putting setting powder on this. The foundation did pretty much dry down. It feels a little bit tacky, but I just want to see how it looks with setting powder. So I'm using one from Milani. Let's just put that on and see how it goes. And I'm someone where I like to set my products. I don't like to just wear cream products all day necessarily because they tend to transfer, things happen. I'm not a big fan of not setting my face. I like to set my face. It makes me feel a little more like locked in. So let me see how that looks. On the monitor, that kind of just like took away everything. In person, the blush is definitely still there. Let's add a little more. Okay, so before I do the rest of my makeup, quick thoughts. The foundation, I don't know what it looks like on camera. Oh, I'm gonna put some lip oil on too, actually. They have a transparent one and I need this. It smells kind of like Mamba's. I feel like this foundation is just accentuating every skin issue that I have. And I'm really shocked by that from like a light coverage foundation. Usually those are the ones I feel like they're the most forgiving. Like, yes, you're seeing your skin more, but I'm really, really surprised that it's accentuating dry patches more. I was not expecting that. Usually I get that more with the fuller coverage foundations for obvious reasons. Like when it's full coverage, it tends to be more drying anyway. It just looks really weird. It looks really strange on my skin. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my makeup. I will be back and then I'm gonna share some more thoughts with you because I wanna let it kind of meld, let it sit, all those sorts of things. So I'll be right back. So I did the rest of my makeup. I'm going to now use the Tinted lip oil in, what shade is this? Fresh Squeezed. I do have their clear one on and it feels actually really nice on the lips. It feels nice and moisturizing, and these do have a little bit of a fruity scent. Initial thoughts, first impressions. I'm not blown away. I'm really struggling because I really, really like that they made this effort. I think it's so important to see and it's really great to see. That said, like I said before, and to repeat myself, I wish that this was a better foundation. I wish that they had like done a vegan version of a more full coverage foundation. I don't think that this is a product people that purchase their other foundations are going to try and pick up. And I think if they did, this is exactly it. I think that if I was someone who is not familiar with vegan beauty and I picked it up, this was my impression of a vegan product, I don't think I would be blown away. And I think that that is a little bit frustrating because, like I said, other brands like e.l.f. show that you can do this. They show you can make really nice quality products that are vegan, products that perform really well. And I think that it makes it a struggle in the vegan beauty space when brands create products like this is CoverGirl's only vegan foundation. It is a really big struggle in the space because so many people think that vegan products do not perform as well as non-vegan ones. And they do. They totally do. They totally can. And I think that this perpetuates that idea, which is very frustrating for me as a content creator in the vegan beauty space. So much of what I'm doing is trying to show people that vegan beauty is easy, that vegan products work. And so when there are products like this, it makes it tough because if you're someone that is new to vegan beauty and this is what you pick up, it's not a great first impression. I'm just going to put it that way. It's not a good first impression, and that's a little frustrating. So going back to their claims, it's definitely lightweight. It's definitely sheer coverage. It is a little buildable. On my cheeks where I built it up, there is more coverage. If you have any problematic spots, if you have any blemishes, you are going to you are going to, if you have any problem areas, if you have like acne spots or redness, like anything you actually want to cover, you are going to need to go in with a concealer first. And I would suggest a more full coverage concealer like the e.l.f. Camo Concealer or the Milani Conceal and Perfect, which is what I used. Those are two really good vegan drugstore concealers that are very high coverage. Now, CoverGirl does make a vegan concealer. I haven't used it, so maybe theirs is good. I don't know. But you will need to cover that stuff up first. You can see my freckles. As it sits, it is looking a little bit better on the skin, but it's not my favorite. So knowing it was sheer, I was expecting it to be very glowy. I was expecting it to be really moisturizing, and I don't feel like I'm getting either of those. Yes, I did set my face, but honestly, when it comes to glowy foundations, it doesn't matter if I set my face or not. That glow still comes through. It still looks nice and luminous on the skin, and I'm not getting any of that. The blush is starting to look a little bit better as it sits on the skin, but as far as cream blushes go, it is not my favorite formula. I've definitely used better. If you were looking for a really good cream blush, I would go with Au Naturel. Theirs are amazing. I know it's not drugstore. You can get it at like most Whole Foods locations. You can get it on their website, but theirs is like the best cream blush out there. So if you are looking for cream products, I would just go straight to that one. Yes, it's more expensive, but it is worth it. And their shades are so pretty. Their highlight, I think I like the highlight in the lip oil the most. I do want to try the highlight on other foundations. Now, my struggle with highlighting sticks and liquid highlights, cream highlights, is that they tend to wear away the foundation in those spots. So I do want to see if that happens here. And I do also want to try it on a more full coverage foundation to see if that happens. I find that a lot of cream highlighters, that tends to be the case. Again, the one from Au Naturel is amazing, so I highly suggest it. It's not the drugstore price point, but it is such good quality that if you like cream products, theirs are so good. I'm really struggling here because I want to find so many nice things to say. I want to encourage CoverGirl for coming out with this vegan range, but as of right now, I'm struggling, and that's very frustrating for me as a content creator, specifically in the vegan space, because I love telling you guys about things that work great that are vegan. I know a lot of you watching buy vegan beauty products. I know a vast majority of you, like a lot of you also don't and are interested in vegan beauty, and so that's where I get frustrated, like I said, with products like this, because I don't think that using vegan products should mean you're missing out on anything. So it's kind of frustrating. I'm really struggling right now, but I am going to do a wear test to see how it wears throughout the day, and I will check in with you later. So I'm going to have more thoughts later. Just initially, those are my very, very first impressions, but please stick around for this wear test because it might change. Sometimes foundations warm up on the skin. Sometimes they look better throughout the day just as my skin adjusts. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so it's now been like 7 hours since I applied the foundation, 6 or 7, somewhere in there, and I wanted to share my thoughts on it. Now, I know after I filmed the last bit, it was pretty clear what my thoughts were, but I wanted to see how the foundation wore and what it did on my skin. I also took some time and did watch a couple other video reviews on it because I wanted to see if what I was experiencing was common or if it was what others were experiencing too. And okay, so I do have dry skin, and one thing that I really noticed watching some other videos is people with dry skin seem to really struggle with this. And for me, that is definitely the case. I feel like right now, okay, it does look more dewy and more glowy than it did before, but I feel like it's just not working for me. I feel like my skin just looks really bad. I feel like the foundation made me look like years older than I am. I feel like it created texture and fine lines and pores where they're not usually visible. I feel like it just, it says that it blurs. It definitely doesn't blur. I feel like I can see every little imperfection in my skin, every little fine line, every dry patch is way more emphasized with this product. I feel like there's just so many areas of my skin that never look like this with any other foundation. And so it's very strange to me to see because it is a lightweight foundation, and I would expect something like this maybe from like a more heavy duty full coverage foundation because they're going to be more drying, and that's kind of a given. And then I balance it out with a more moisturizing skin prep and more moisturizing primer. And I did my normal skin today, used a primer I use so many times. Like, I know it's not the primer because I use it with so many products. I feel like the blush did hold up really well. The color's still there. I feel like the highlight held up pretty well too. Like, the product looks very similar overall to it did right after it was applied, but it's just not good. It's not working for me, and I'm really struggling. Like I was saying earlier, I really wanted to find good things to say about it because it's great to see more vegan products out there, especially from a brand like COVERGIRL, where this is their first venture into that. And I feel bad, but it just does not work for me. Now, if it works for you, comment, let me know. Let me know how you've been wearing it, how you've been applying it. I'm just not a fan, and so personally, I'm not into it. I wouldn't recommend it, and it just, yeah, it looks really, really bad on my skin. And I watched quite a few videos from other people who have dry skin, and they experienced a lot of these same issues and felt a lot of the same things. And it did seem like from the videos I was watching, maybe people who have skin more on the oily side tend to not have these issues with this foundation. I'm not sure though, because a lot of what I was seeing wasn't consistent, and some people were saying it was pretty good coverage, but it's sheer coverage. So it's hard to tell like what people were expecting and what products they used it with, things like that. Like, that can really make a difference. I've talked about that in other foundation videos. But yeah, my final thoughts are I don't like it. I don't think I will use it again. I might hold on to one tube. I'm gonna donate the rest probably. A lot of the colors just aren't gonna match me. I might hold on to one and try it again in the future just to see if maybe it's because it's winter and my skin is dry. Maybe if I try it in a different season, it'll be better. But I'm just honestly not sure if that's worth it. Let me know what you guys think. I did really like the lip oil. I think that was my favorite of this collection. The blush is fine. It's not my favorite cream blush. The highlight's okay. I wish they had more shades in both of them. I wish there was more shades in everything, but the lip oil is actually really good. I do suggest that. The blush is fine. If you need a cream blush and you're at the drugstore, probably your only option for a vegan one, and same with the cream highlight. But they're nothing groundbreaking. They're nothing amazing. They're nothing you couldn't live without. I'm just gonna put it that way. They're nice. They're fine. They're okay. I don't have anything bad to say about them, but I don't have anything good to say either. So overall, I'm not super impressed with this collection, which is a bummer because I love that COVERGIRL is trying. I just wish that this would have been maybe like a medium coverage foundation and other products that are more in line with a lot of their like staple complexion products and those claims. I wish that this line was more in line with that instead of trying to come out with this like clean, natural looking product. It's not what I gravitate towards at the store. It's not for me. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I will see you later. I'm just hanging out with Juniper. If you guys want to see more of us, make sure you watch another video here. You can check out the vlog channel here, and make sure you subscribe and make Juniper's day right here.